Okay. Good evening, everyone. On behalf of the 2024 Planning Studio, I'd like to thank you all for taking the time to join us this evening. I'm Ariana. My graduate colleague Benjamin Woodward, and representatives from the undergraduate studio will be presenting our graduate studio's recommendation report, Community Voices, a New Vision for Rowan University's Master Plan. Our report is broken into 6 sections represented by the colors displayed. During this presentation, we will first give an introduction to the studio and the goals of our project. Next, we will provide context of Rowan University to better understand the project area. After, we will briefly touch upon the theoretical planning concepts that inspired our work. Then we will explain the methodology used to collect and analyze our primary and secondary data. We will provide an overview of key findings and results. Last, we will suggest recommendations for Rowan University's master plan and provide 5 detailed site designs from the undergraduate and graduate studio. Our project team was led by our advisor, Dr. Minar. The report's authors from the graduate studio are listed and members of the undergraduate studio. The project is affiliated with the Department of Geography, Planning, and Sustainability and the Community Planning and Visualization Lab. Our first goal for our project was to build a relationship and collaboration between Rowan University Graduate Planning Studio and the planning firm Olin. Olin is creating Rowan University's new master plan. Our second goal is to highlight the importance of partnerships, community engagement, and theoretical research when making a master plan. Lastly, provide recommendations based on theories and research we have studied and collected throughout our time in our capstone course, providing physical and design ideas for our university's future. We'll provide a summarized overview of the project area. Rowan University is located in Glassboro, New Jersey, in Gloucester County, where we are now. Glassboro was founded in 1779, and the Glassboro Normal School was opened in 1923, which is now known as Rowan University. Glassboro is a mid-sized town that spans 9.32 square miles. 3 major roadways pass through the municipality, including Route 47, Route 55, and Route 322. The town is also served by 3 bus routes shown on the map. In the future, the northern portion of the rail line is intended to be utilized for a new light rail system. The Glassboro-Camden line will have 2 stops in Glassboro, connecting the municipality with Camden and the wider Philadelphia-Delaware Valley metro area. The university is shown in the yellow polygon outlined in black. From this map, we can see the university is mostly surrounded by residential areas. This really emphasizes the importance of community communication and a community relationship. Oh, you can see this? Thank you. Sweet. Is that better? Perfect. The legend. Additional maps. Rowan University terrain map on the left shows the campus contours and displays that the lowest lying lands on campus are in the center and contains most of the academic buildings and activities. This influenced our recommendation in these areas to incorporate design elements that will mitigate stormwater challenges. The Rowan University's outdoor features map gave us insight to the existing outdoor features and community spaces on campus. From this map, we can see the need for designated community spaces in the west and south campus. Concepts. Our report's recommendations were crafted with several design principles in mind. The most important principle was the integration of restorative city elements, as seen in the graphic. These elements encompass 7 distinct categories: green, blue, sensory, neighborly, active, playable, and inclusive. The restorative city model promotes urban design concepts that foster connections between individuals and their surroundings, engage the senses, and cultivate community bonds, as well as promoting physical activity, playful experience, and inclusivity in an urban landscape, all with the purpose of promoting mental well-being. Our recommendations were also based on a few other concepts and principles. While we only conducted one focus group with Glassboro residents, the town-gown relationship was an important concept in creating our recommendations, emphasizing the importance of fostering positive connections between Rowan University and the borough of Glassboro. A variety of urban design principles were included that I will be briefly describing. Placemaking involves the collaborative process of designing and activating public spaces to enhance community identity and engagement. The 15-minute city model emphasizes the accessibility of essential services within a short travel time, promoting walkability and reducing reliance on cars. Imageability refers to the memorable and recognizable aspects of a city landscape, contributing to its identity and attractiveness. Sustainability prioritizes environmental responsibility and resource efficiency. Outdoor learning incentives integrate educational activities into outdoor spaces, fostering experiential learning and a connection with nature that we all crave. Lastly, urban form encompasses the physical layout and designs of an urban space, influencing their functionality, accessibility, and character. All of these principles collectively contributed to our recommendations for improving our campus. Our studio timeline is represented in this graph. Starting in January, we developed our project goals and began a background literature review and GIS analysis. From the end of January through the beginning of March, we collected data. In March, we analyzed our results and began organizing our recommendations. And now we are providing our recommendations. I will now hand the podium over to Benjamin Woodward to continue.
Hello, everyone. So I'm going to kick us off with our methodology. So our data collection process had focused on four main focuses. We collected participant feedback and preferences towards physical campus designs in relation to four topic areas: buildings and infrastructure, connectivity and mobility, grounds and natural resources, and campus identity and the university-borough interface. Primary data for our project was collected using four main methods. First, we hosted one community workshop with Rowan's Geo Club, students, advisors, and others back in February. And in the preceding weeks, we hosted a series of four focus groups with Rowan's Ruspo Club, Real Club, Rowan Junior faculty, and members of the Creative Glassboro, a community group dedicated to making Glassboro an artful cultural destination. And our team also used intercept surveys and site observations in 18 total indoor and outdoor campus spaces. Secondary data was shared in collaboration with the Olean Studio and Rowan University Services and Facilities. In the beginning of the year, a couple of planning studio members took notes and at a series of stakeholder meetings hosted by Olean that gathered input from Rowan University administrators, faculty, staff, and some student representatives. Olean also shared condensed results of their campus community survey and open house engagement activities for our studio to analyze. Rowan University Services and Facilities, along with the help of Dr. Zachary Christman, shared campus GIS data layers used in our mapping analysis, including layers like the campus boundary, impervious cover, campus building footprint, contour lines, flood zones, campus trees, and more. Data for our project was analyzed using mixed methods of content analysis, coding, GIS analysis, and group design exercises. For content analysis, we used word clouds to represent frequently occurring themes arising from participant feedback. Bar charts and pie charts were used to plot thematic results that emerged from survey results and other qualitative data. For coding, focus group data was categorized into tables organized by emerging themes. And stakeholder meeting notes were open-coded by categorizing emerging topics according to campus strengths, challenges, and opportunities. For GIS analysis, we used emotional mapping to find our perceived heart of our campus and calculated insightful campus metrics to inform our design recommendations. And for group design exercises, we brainstormed ideas for our graphical master plan in separate groups and consolidated them together. Optimized designs for specific sites were fine-tuned and graphically represented later on as site plans. And in the next slide, we will begin to discuss our results. So results from our engagement activities were summarized into broader concepts that best connected them. For buildings and infrastructure, our intercept survey results indicated that the library, student center, and the Rowan Rec Center were the top 3 indoor spaces on campus, as seen in the chart to the right. The library scored 17.4%, while the Student Center and Rec Center were tied at 10.9%. And our survey results reflected Olean's campus survey and open house data. Meeting and event spaces, classrooms, and labs were the most important indoor spaces on campus to participants. And areas needing the most improvement were parking, Robinson Hall, Triad Apartments, creating flexible spaces on campus, and creating more international and graduate student housing. And Robinson Hall had scored the highest percentage for spaces that needed the most improvement overall, as seen in the sticker to the right of the bottom end corner of the screen. For grounds and natural resources, Olean's survey had marked Robinson Green to be a favorite campus green space, while our survey had indicated that Engineering Woods was number 1. Business Hall Green and outside of the Student Center needed the most improvement overall, and participants requested that outdoor spaces be enhanced with more access to natural features, seating and tables, outdoor workspaces, and student art pieces, some of which are captured in a quote from GeoLab at the bottom of the left section of the screen. Overall, the best connected feature on campus was Meditation Walk. Common connectivity and mobility issues were pedestrian safety, disruptive construction, poor wayfinding signage, and an unreliable campus shuttle with long wait times that caused lateness. Many participants felt that pedestrians faced too many hazards and obstacles while walking around campus, particularly bikes, e-scooters, skateboards, and more. And paths in general had poor maintenance. Participant suggestions were to improve shuttle access and convenience, increase parking by installing more parking garages on campus, separating walking and biking paths for safety, and increasing signage and closing 322 for a pedestrian-only zone. Please take a moment to view some of the stakeholder meeting quotes that captured ongoing issues and participant suggestions on the right side of the screen. For campus identity and the university-borough interface, although the campus identity was determined to be unclear, participants felt there was a strong connection between Rowan's campus and trees and nature. For example, some older buildings on campus are named after trees, and participants felt that the campus is well connected with nature, especially on South Campus. The university-borough interface was found to be quite disconnected. Community members felt that many students are unaware that Glassboro owns Rowan Boulevard, and some Glassboro residents also recognized that residents in the community do not take advantage of what Rowan has to offer them. See the bottom quote on the left. Other issues were poor sidewalks and boundaries between campus and Glassboro, and some participant suggestions were to create clearer entrance points to campus, safer sidewalks, and establish better communication between campus entities and campus and Glassboro. And next, I would like to bring Ariana back up to continue with our design recommendations.
Okay. Our studio's design recommendations are pulled from the feedback we received from intercept surveys, focus groups, community workshops, theory, and GIS data. These quotes are taken from the studio's intercept surveys and provide a snapshot into the wants and needs of students, faculty, and staff of Rowan University. From the data we collected and looked at our studio has come up with overall design recommendations. To start, for buildings and infrastructure, we found that faculty and students would like more comfortable spaces with better seating and improved Wi-Fi. Students hope to create multi-use spaces and incorporate sustainable design practices throughout campus. Older buildings were also a big concern. Faculty and students would like more contemporary design principles incorporated into the new and existing buildings on campus. Next, for connectivity and mobility recommendations, we suggest designated pathways or zones for various transportation around campus. By implementing designated bike lanes, pedestrian walkways, and separate motorized vehicle paths for golf carts, electric scooters, or skateboards, we can create a safer, more accessible transportation system for everyone. This approach will reduce traffic congestion, promote healthy lifestyles, and encourage people to adopt eco-friendly means of transportation. We also recommend to enhance the wayfinding system, making it more interactive and engaging. This could include improved directional signage, map kiosks, building signage, and internal numbering, all featuring updated maps with new buildings and locations across campus. We also propose a numbered signage system with QR codes, which can be accessed for virtual interactive maps. Each sign will offer interesting facts about the species found on campus, particularly for science and biology students, making navigation fun and an educational experience. Another recommendation is to improve Rowan University's shuttle service by adding more stops and off-campus stops, particularly near common off housing neighborhoods and freshman dorms. And we propose, with the pending closure of Route 322, a greenway in place of the road. The next section we will move on into is campus identity and the university-borough interface. Our first suggestion is to install new student-based art installations with appropriate interpretive signage across campus. Next, to improve entrance signage. At present, the campus roughly has 6 main entrance points. However, many of the entrances are unappealing and don't adequately communicate when you are entering or exiting campus. We propose redesigning these points with large monument signs and generally improving the aesthetics of these points. Additionally, creating new public spaces will provide new spaces for students to interact with others and express themselves, allowing Rowan's identity to grow with the identity of its students. We feel it's important to create a heart of campus as well. Last, we wish to enhance the campus safety by increasing lighting and the number of blue light emergency phones throughout the campus. This final general recommendation section covers grounds and natural resources. Overall, there was an overwhelming majority of those who wanted more native plants around campus. This would include factors like native fish and ponds, gardens, and wildlife areas. By doing so, it not only allows growth for the natural environment, but also access to native sources across campus. We also wish to increase seating in areas near green spaces, including picnic tables and tables with solar-powered outlets to allow students to more easily work outdoors. Our next suggestion is to enhance wayfinding with natural features and landmarks like art exhibits. Our final suggestion would be to include aesthetically pleasing outdoor infrastructure. This is a graphical representation of the major changes that we recommend the university take into consideration that would be the most impactful based on the data we collected. In summary, we believe 3 buildings should be redeveloped and are shown in gray polygons, including Westby Hall, Robinson Hall, and the community building. They're the gray polygons with the dark outlines that say RB 1, 2, and 3. New buildings to be developed are shown by red polygons and include a new academic building, a technology center with classrooms, and a new mixed-use building and train station. Other highlights include walking paths to connect the north and south campus, more entrances to the university with welcome gates, and implementing green spaces, including a green space at the heart of campus. This semester, our studio classes were divided into smaller groups to provide more detailed design recommendations for specific smaller projects around campus. We have 3 undergraduate site plans and 2 graduate site plans. I will now hand it over to Mason to present the proposed changes to Lot 01.
All right. Hello, my name is Mason, and my undergrad group's project was Lot 01, and then as we got started on it, we also expanded it to across the street as well between Flieger and Engineering Hall. So, or Wilson, my bad, in engineering. So, This is what we propose doing with it. Currently, it is a large parking lot with a field with some paths through it. And the paths in the field don't necessarily go in straight directions through the field, so that would be getting changed. The green space would be expanded into where the parking lot is, and the parking lot itself would be almost completely removed with a building put in place that can be academic and multi-use. Additionally, more outdoor seating is added, similar to on Robinson Green, as that is a very popular location, and that was something that we found was requested in our feedback surveys. So here's another view of it. Some key features would be a dedicated food truck area at the academic building. The building itself can be academic in its intention and nature, but also have multi-purpose aspects. It would add greater spaces for third places, as that was something which was requested, as well as potentially a large meeting area or multi-purpose room as well. Something which was somewhat surprising that we found through our surveys was a lack of lighting on campus. So that would be increased in the area as well, specifically along walkways, and of course the across the street would be more fleshed out green space, getting rid of the tiny little parking lot that's there to create more seating as a place for people to be. So, and with that, I will hand it over to Graham, who will present on his groups. All right.
All right. So my group worked on redesigning Abbott's Pond, which is located on the north part of campus, just north of Discovery Hall. You can see the parking lot of Discovery Hall just behind it. This is our proposed plans. Currently, Abbott's Pond is encircled very closely by trees and landscaping, and prevents students from really getting close to the pond and interacting with it like they can maybe over by Engineering Pond. So a lot of our proposed changes allow students to get closer. We started over by the gazebo, where we proposed kind of renovating it, improving the gazebo so students can use it all year round, better outlets, better infrastructure like that, so people can feel safe and more willing to maybe use that space. We then wanted to connect the gazebo to the waterfront by creating this waterfront plaza and cafe. This is an area that's going to have seating and different other amenities for students to use and kind of help connect the space, hopefully. And and then into the water, we have a floating waterfront cafe seating area. This is so students can really kind of get into the water, get closer to the water, really get the blue element of campus. To the left of that, we wanted to add some hammocks, and you can see on the rolling hills landscaping, we wanted to add some other kinds of seatings. That's currently across campus. It's mostly just traditional tables, Adirondack chairs across campus. So we want to give students some more options like bench swings you can see in the bottom right, hammocks, or the like rolling hills and things like that. The final change we really wanted to propose in this area is adding some kind of art feature. So we added on the south of campus where all the little stars are, we wanted to add some kind of art feature there to break up the line of sight. So if you're sitting on the rolling hills and you're enjoying the pond, you're not looking at a parking lot. Instead, you have some art in front of it to kind of break it up. Just a general overview of our changes. These images on the bottom are some of the things that really inspired us when we were creating it. But the floating waterfront seating, cafe, hammocks, fountains, artwork, rolling hills, and we just wanted to make it a more interesting place that students can really embrace, and that takes full advantage of this amazing natural feature in the middle of our campus. I'm now going to pass it off to Liz, who's going to do the next undergrad section.
Hi everyone, how are you? So for our next, my group worked on Memorial Circle and renovating Memorial Circle. This is an example of recommendations that we gathered. We have Memorial Circle is underutilized and disconnected from the North Campus, and Rowan also lacks a campus identity. So once sometime in the near future when Route 322 will be closed off and become pedestrian oriented, we can better integrate the north and south campuses together. Using for the proposed site plan, we're using the existing sidewalks and heritage trees. Since it's already made up there, we don't want to like waste time in changing up the design of that. So we could work around that. So these recommendations are based on both Rowan's master plan and feedback from students and faculty through focus groups. These recommendations incorporate restorative city elements that my cohorts were talking about earlier. So the pedestrian gateway, fountain, and art installations will add to Rowan's campus identity and also help with wayfinding. The fountain, for example, is a good example of a hydrophilic feature for a blue campus. The findings from our intercept surveys, open house and focus groups and workshop reaffirm the need for a greener campus. So it's better to keep the healthy heritage trees and build more garden beds. This is an example site plan to help visualize Memorial Circle with the pedestrian gateway that enhances Rowan's campus identity and instills a sense of collegiate reverence. As soon as you walk through the entrance, there are flower beds and a beautiful fountain with seating. On the upper right-hand corner is the proposed outdoor classroom for enhanced learning. There's a community garden next to the existing 9/11 memorial and is intentionally ungated so it can be open to the public to enjoy. There are examples of outdoor sculptures, ideally designed by Rowan art students, and movable tables and chairs provide gathering and studying spaces throughout the quad, and lighting and benches are dispersed throughout this quad for safety and seating, safety and more seating options. Back to Ben.
All right, so next we will move to the Triad Apartments located on the west of Rowan's campus, which have gone unused for many years, except for a brief period during the pandemic. To capitalize on this long neglected space, we propose the demolition of Triad and replacing the apartments with a modern mixed-use building that blends commercial spaces with affordable apartment-style living for graduate students and Rowan faculty and staff with families. The apartments will also be open to non-Rowan affiliated groups as needed. Our proposal includes a central courtyard with native plant species and water features, creating a peaceful environment for students amidst Rowan's busy campus. And the space will also serve as a gathering area full of diverse outdoor seating options. Additionally, our proposed building is strategically located next to a planned train stop on the route of the future Glassboro-Camden rail line. And taking this into account, we propose an elevated overpass between the station's platform and our new building to optimize connectivity and mobility between the station and the new development. Addressing parking issues, we propose an underground parking garage below the building, and we also proposed a nature-based stormwater basin with a properly engineered garage. And there will be no impervious surfaces other than a one-way lane for bus access to the train station. Overall, this proposal incorporates key principles such as a mixed-use layout, fostering walkability and the inclusion of green, blue, and other restorative city features to ensure our proposal addresses key planning concepts. And with this renovation, we hope to bring new life to this overlooked part of Rowan's campus. And I'll now pass it back over to Ariana.
Now I'll get into a detailed site design concept of a proposed site to implement a mixed-use area we have coined as the Glass Owl Plaza. To first find our project area, we took survey 123 responses of the prompt, outline the heart of Rowan. Many of our responses overlapped and highlighted the buildings and areas around the student center. For our proposed site, we're suggesting an area that is adjacent to the unofficial heart of campus to change this perception and make the heart of campus include areas of South Campus. This location would remove only one of the already existing 32 parking lots within the campus boundary, and it would connect to Memorial Circle Park. This graphic shows the current area as it is today, a parking lot with a green space that lacks thoughtful design. This detailed design shows features we propose to be implemented into the new park, including benches, a row of trees on both sides of a wide open lawn, designated food truck locations, a gazebo, multiple wayfinding points located at the entrances, a glass owl art installation, an amphitheater to serve as an outdoor learning space, and a coffee shop with outdoor seating. Pulling from city imageability, this design incorporates city design elements such as paths, the main path across the park, edges, the outline of Maple Mall, districts, the plaza itself, nodes, the campus. The plaza will become a strategic focal point for the university, and landmarks, the glass owl statue. In summary, why here? This space will foster social connections and connections to nature. It will incorporate outdoor learning and event spaces, and it will define Rowan's Glassboro campus identity with art and community attribution. Now back to Ben.
So moving on, we have our programmatic and policy recommendations. First of all, communication needs to be enhanced between all of Rowan's community, from administration down to students, encompassing faculty, staff, and everyone in between. And we also recommend improving communication between Rowan and the Glassboro community. Rowan should increase campus safety and accessibility by strategically placing campus security officers and adding more walkway lighting and signage. And pedestrian and multimodal transportation routes around campus should be separated into different zones with speed limits. We also recommend more ADA parking and other accommodations. And the shuttle should also be improved by creating more stops in and around campus and enhancing the overall efficiency and frequency. All technology trends and buildings need to be updated and standardized for computers, Wi-Fi connection, and teaching equipment. And campus dining options should be expanded with food trucks, new farmers markets, and more Rowan Buck acceptance. And storage capacity needs to be enhanced around campus for clubs, organizations, and labs. And next we have our phases of implementation. So implementation was broken up into 3 phases that span over short-term, medium-term, and long-term projects. During phase 1, the first 1 to 3 years, we think Rowan should tackle small-scale projects that include things like signage and wayfinding improvements, creating a QR-coded historic nature walk on campus, native vegetation and tree plantings, fire pit installations, exercise equipments and benches, and fixing up the Mullica Hall basketball court. We also think that Rowan should create implementation committees encompassing the Rowan community from administration down to students to evaluate the progress of campus changes subject to our eventual master plan. We also think that creating site-specific project committees and having them run activation site activities to gather more Rowan community feedback before construction begins for individual small-scale projects should occur. And we also want to improve communication between all entities within our campus and as well as between our campus and the Glassboro community. And I believe that this can take place through an online web form or portal where idea sharing and discourse can take place. And keeping the locals informed about how future changes to campus may affect them and involve them more in the next master planning process is very important. In phase 2, it'll encompass business building renovations, outdoor green space enhancements, and campus path improvements. For building renovations, we'd like to see updates to indoor building spaces and the standardization of building technology, updating athletic facilities, and creating more storage spaces. For green space enhancements, we think that we can fix existing green spaces, expand current gardens, and create new ones, and also construct the Glass Owl Plaza Campus Center and Abbott's Pond community spaces. And for campus path improvements, we think that closing 322 for pedestrians only should happen during this time, finalizing meditation walk design changes, installing new bike lanes down 322, and bisecting lane that connects across North and South Campus through the Glass Owl Plaza. And finally, in phase 3, we would like to see the construction of brand new buildings, such as academic and service buildings, our proposed parking garage, and the proposed triad mixed-use building and transit center. So moving on to our conclusion, We wish to envision a Rowan University campus of the future, a restorative campus, a campus adorned with blue, green, and sensory elements, but also one that is active, playable, inclusive, and neighborly. Our dream is a campus where students' health and well-being are paramount, both in its physical layout and its programs. And we would like to give a brief thank you to all of our collaborators this semester, because without them, none of this would have been possible. And with that, thank you everyone. That concludes our presentation, and we would now like to open the floor for anyone who has any questions for us. Thank you.